Good. I'm Deputy Chief of the Sheriff's Office. Stopped you because you driving tag or unregistered vehicle with no tag on it. Good evening.
Hey, how are you?
Deputy Chief of the Sheriff's Office. Pulled you over because you're driving an unregistered motor vehicle on the roadway, which is prohibited.
Okay.
This is not for roadway use at all.
Okay.
Is that unless it was aggravating circumstances or extenuating circumstances, that's a warning all day long.
Yeah, we went to the club. It was closed, so we went over and picked up some.
Is your camera on?
It is.
I'm the police chief in Tampa.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
I'm hoping that you'll just let us go tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll say, now that you say you look familiar, so.
Yeah, I'm sure I do.
Okay. So, all right, folks. Well, have a good night. Staying over here in East Lake Woodlands?
Yeah,
we live in East Lake Woodlands.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you. So, I'm Deputy Jacoby.
Okay.
Same here, my friend.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
All right.
Sorry
Take care.
to bother you.
All right. No worries. No worries. Like I say, we have a lot of problem with the golf carting around here. You know, everybody comes
No, we
out.
don't normally come out.
We
But
never
the club
come
was
out.
closed,
We
so we
never,
said we'd go
never.
to the Greek place to get some food.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. All right. Then we'll take care. And it was nice meeting you.
All right.
Oh. All right.
You ever need anything, call me.
Okay.
Serious.
All right. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for yours.
Thank you.
So, take care.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a good night, folks. So, why is it on the roadway tonight?
I didn't realize that I needed to do that, but I can do that.
Where do you live?
We live on Country Club in Oldsmar.
On Country
Near
Club?
Shore Drive. Yeah, we had some friends that live in this
But
neighborhood.
this is not a big deal. And I can tell you with certainty that the outcome wouldn't have been any different. Now, again, what she asked for, she didn't get. The problem is that she asked for it. She asked for special treatment. She asked for privilege. She asked for special consideration. And then, of course, followed it up with, if you ever need anything, come on. Everybody can see what all that is. But that's on her part, not on Deputy Jacoby's part. And I stand by him 100%. He did nothing wrong.
My neighbors live right there. Our friends, our kids. I just took their 2 kids home. Can I go to their house if y'all follow me there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I would never.
You could step out for a minute.
Or you want to stay here?
You want to let me check your eyes real quick, make sure you're safe to operate a motor vehicle? Okay. Just come over here for me. So what I'm going to have you do is face me. Put your feet together like this. Keep your hands down at your side. Stay in that position for me. Can you see this okay? What I want you to do is keep your eyes up here where it's red.
Okay.
All with your eyes only. Keep your head still. Don't move your head, okay? All right, here's the deal. I see a little bit. I don't have enough to do a DUI investigation at this point. But at the same time, you still have alcohol on board. The whole time you've been standing here, I'm seeing you sway. You've got an odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from your breath.
Not swaying. I'm sorry. I just.
You are swaying.
Okay.
So you want to argue with me?
No, I just do not want to get in trouble. I've never gotten in trouble.
Okay,
And
well,
I
starting
promise-
with arguing is,
No, I'm just worried.
well, you're driving a vehicle unregistered on the roadway. It's not equipped with any kind of safety features, lights, nothing that's required for the roadway. You admitted to having a beer. You have an odor of an alcoholic beverage. Your eyes are glassy, bloodshot, watery.
Okay. Okay.
Shall I continue?
I just need to know what to do.
Well, first and foremost, you're going to call to get a ride, and then second of all, this is going to have to be towed out of here
Okay.
because you're not even remotely close to home.
Can I leave it at our friend Tessa and Chad's house and get our trailer and bring it home?
How are you going to get it to your friend's house?
I could call them and ask them to come get it.
Well, you got somebody you can call sober
Yeah,
with a
that would be
trailer?
great, yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about a trailer, but he and his wife, who live like right there, could come and drive it back.
No,
to
they
our house.
cannot. You can't be operating in the roadway. That's
I
what.
see. Okay, yeah.
And
yeah, we
again,
can
now
get a
this
trailer.
this is starting to lead into
No, I'm
signs
not
of
arguing. I'm
impairment.
trying to figure it out. No,
Well, you're not-
I just want to get it safely somewhere. I don't want to haul it anywhere
I'm willing
if
to
we
bet
can
the
help
cooler
it.
probably has something adult beverage related in
Yeah.
it.
Well, we were. It's. Yeah, we were.
Okay.
I mean, we
So
always have it
we've
in
just
the yard. We
we've
always
just
have
had some really poor decision making today. It sounds
Okay.
like.
Okay.
Correct? Yeah. So yeah,
You
you're
want me
gonna
to try to get a trailer? I can call
yeah,
someone to try to get a trailer.
either a trailer or a tow truck, one of the two,
Okay.
because it's not being driven out of here,
Okay.
one way or the other.
Okay.
And you are going to receive a citation today,
For.
unregistered motor vehicle
Okay.
on the roadway.
I understand
So-
completely, and I'm sorry.
In lieu of me taking you to jail, you're getting a citation being released tonight, okay? However, that requires you to go to court. Right now, the court information down here, it's going to be at the call of the court, meaning they're going to send correspondence to your home address. You need to watch
Okay.
your mail
All right.
for a date and time of when you need to go. If you don't show up, then they'll just issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yeah.
And when you aggravate the judge to that point, it's not going to be pretty.
No, that's not going to happen.
So here's the thing, that thing cannot be driven, it can't be registered. So the only place that is for is off-road on property that you have permission to be on.
Right.
Not any parks, not any trails. I'll tell you right now, City of Oldsmar, zero tolerance. They want 100% enforcement and no leniency.
Okay.
You've been cooperative
No,
with
I
me,
won't.
but in the future also don't argue with law enforcement. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You know, all that does is aggravate us,
Yeah.
and then, you know,
I think I was just scared.
it's not gonna, well, if you're scared or not, I mean, no different than, you know, when you got kids and you tell them, you know, if I told you to do something, you don't do it, or why did you do it? You don't want an excuse, and you don't want, you know, them arguing with you, right?
Right.
Not,
no,
to,
it's
you know,
true.
not to put that you're a kid, but
No, I
you know,
have.
it's
I have
the same.
a 15, 13, and 11-year-old, and that's
So
what we're doing
put yourself
right
in
now.
my
But
shoes,
no,
and
I
if you're
get it.
trying to do the job,
Yeah.
and someone's gonna, you know, give excuses and argue and give attitude, I mean, what are we to think at that point? Now,
Right.
now it seems like you're just trying to get out of stuff and whatnot. So, any questions for me?
No, I appreciate it.
The hypocrisy that we see in these two side-by-side videos is unbelievable. The first case happens November the 12th, 2022. The second case happens November 11th, 2022. So the night before, the same stop officer, and the result is black and white, night and day. It's completely different. How can you tell me that you stand behind this person and the decisions that they made? How are these cases so different? Obviously, the cases are different. Every case is going to be different. But let's look at the facts. Both happen in Oldsmar, in relatively the same community. I'll pull it up here on the screen. So the police chief's case happens right here. And if we zoom out just a little bit, so this is in a busy shopping plaza outside of a neighborhood. My client's case happens right here in a neighborhood. In fact, if you look at the videos, you can see it's residential. Oak Pond Court, Maple Leaf Boulevard, residential houses, as opposed to, go back to the bank. A busy, huge intersection here with a Walmart and a Target, non-residential. The neighborhood that the police chief says she lives in is this neighborhood here. Deputy Jacoby never asked her exactly what her address was, how far away she was. But he made such a big deal because my client, who was pulled over here, lives over here in this area.
Is related to another case involving one of your deputies. out in Tampa, do you believe that that deputy that pulled over Tampa Chief Mary O'Connor acted appropriately, and will he face any disciplinary action at all?
I'm surprised it took you that long to get to that question. And I hadn't decided whether I was going to answer that question or not, but I'll answer it. You know, Deputy Larry Jacoby did absolutely nothing wrong. I stand by him 110%. The person who did wrong was Mary O'Connor.
You heard him. He said Deputy Larry Jacoby did absolutely nothing wrong. I'm going to tell you that's not true. He absolutely did something wrong. He did not treat someone in a position of power the same as he did a person who committed the same exact crime one night prior. He treated them completely different, night and day. That is acting inappropriately. That is an abuse of power, an abuse of your discretion as a police officer to not treat people fairly. But is anybody really surprised that this happens? I'm not. But don't sit here and tell me that the deputy did absolutely nothing wrong and acted how he would in that situation for any other citizen. I got the proof here. I'm showing you that is not the case.
Consequences, the mayor's acted, Tampa's handling that, that's their business. Larry Jacoby did nothing wrong. He did his job, and while she asked for a favor, he didn't give her a favor. He handled that as he would have handled any other like situation, any other like traffic stop.
Really? Clearly that's not the case. From the day before. From the day before.
You know, people think that just because you got stopped by the cops that you're going to get a ticket, and that is absolutely not the case. Is that we stop a lot of cars all the time, and in very few of those cases, very few of those situations we give tickets, especially when it's something like this. Think about this, what this is. It's a golf cart. They were about 100 yards from the entrance to their gated community. The only reason why they popped out was because the restaurant they were trying to go to within the gated community was closed, so they went across the street to get some food from a restaurant, and they're going back and they're 100 yards away. Who cares? It's not felony no tag on a golf cart. It's no tag on a golf cart. So the outcome wouldn't have been any different if she had just kept her mouth shut. Is that unless it was aggravating circumstances or extenuating circumstances.
I want to talk about this. He says, unless it's aggravating circumstances or extenuating circumstances. Now, I know politicians. I know the potential to backtrack. So let me do what a good defense attorney does, and let me make the argument from both sides. From the perspective of a prosecutor or potentially the perspective of what the sheriff could say. Now, he could say, oh, this is completely different because one is a golf cart and the other is an off-road side-by-side, they call it. Guess what? The law and the statute is exactly the same. It does not differentiate between the golf cart or the side-by-side. The end result would be the same ticket, the same citation. So we can get rid of that argument right now. In fact, if we look here on the Florida Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles page, I'll put a link to this underneath the video. It goes on, and this article is written by the DMV, and it talks about how you can register what they call a low-speed vehicle. And in fact, it has to do with the speed and other things. But the bottom line is that just by looking at a vehicle, you can't tell if the vehicle could potentially fall under the category of being allowed to be registered. But in fact, you have to take that vehicle to get inspected, and then they do an inspection on it, and then they determine if it qualifies to be able to be licensed and registered and insured to drive on a motorway. So let's get rid of that argument right now. Both of these vehicles are equally guilty of not being registered. So that throws that out. The next argument that they might argue is, oh, well, she admitted to having a beer and he smelled alcohol in her breath. Well, let's back up a little bit. Now, I don't know because all I have is the body cam video. But maybe the police chief and her husband, maybe they had the odor of alcohol coming from them. We don't know because he doesn't do an investigation. Okay? But he does an investigation when he smells alcohol on my client. He does the investigation. And what does he say? That he doesn't have enough to continue a DUI investigation. So what does that mean? That means that a lot of people don't realize it is perfectly legal to drink alcohol and drive a car. The big difference is you cannot drink to the extent that your normal faculties are impaired. and drive a vehicle. So that's a huge distinction here. It is not illegal. It is not against the law to drive while drinking as long as your normal faculties aren't impaired. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at the body cam video. He does his what's called HGN, horizontal gaze nystagmus, and he determines, and that's the light looking at her eyes. He determines based on that he does not have enough evidence to show that she's under the influence of alcohol to the extent that her normal faculties are impaired in order to continue his DUI investigation. And he tells her that. He tells her that. So don't tell me that oh, well, she had an odor of alcohol, so that's why she got a ticket. It's not. It doesn't change the facts at all. Not one bit. You know, the next thing that you would think would be a valid argument is Deputy Jacoby says you're being uncooperative. I completely disagree with him. I think he is abusing his power as a police officer. My client is clearly in a stressful situation. She doesn't know what to do. She's trying to problem solve. She's trying to prevent her side-by-side from getting towed. That's an additional expense that she would have to pay. What does Deputy Jacoby say? You're not driving that on the road tonight. You're not allowed to drive it. It's not registered.
I can call someone to try to get a trailer.
Either a trailer or a tow truck, one of the two.
Okay.
Because it's not being driven out of here.
Okay.
One way or the other.
Let's look at back what he said to the police chief.
All right, folks. Well, have a good night. Staying over here in East Lake Woodlands?
We
Yeah,
live
we
in
do.
East Lake Woodlands.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you. So, I'm Deputy Jacoby.
Okay.
Same year, my friend.
Wow. You're telling me he treated them equally? No. I don't think so. Now, you might be saying this is just a ticket, a speeding ticket. It's not a big deal. In fact, it is a big deal. It's a second-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 60 days in jail and a $500 fine. Let me put it to you another way. A police officer has discretion in this case whether or not to arrest somebody or to let them go. Now, I'm going to tell you that this is the only thing that I've seen in this entire video that I think Deputy Jacoby exercised his discretion as a police officer the correct way, by not physically arresting her. In Florida, this is what you call a notice to appear for a criminal citation. It's the exact same thing as being physically arrested. The only difference is that she wasn't put in cuffs and taken down to the station. She was given a ticket that says that she has to go in front of a judge and a prosecutor, and the state of Florida has to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt that she's guilty of this. This video is to show the hypocrisy that's happening in Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, specifically in Oldsmar, and that the sheriff has the audacity to get up in front of a news conference and address members of the media and say that it's anything but that. Now, I'm not saying that Deputy Jacoby shouldn't have let the police chief go. In fact, I think that the sheriff is right. This is a warning all day long. The issue that I have, the issue is to tell me to act like this is, that a favor wasn't given to the police chief when it's clearly that's not true. And it's obvious based on everything I've shown you from the night before, the proof, the evidence is in these videos, watch these videos, that you treat people differently. That's not to say they're not both guilty, and that's not to say they both shouldn't have gotten a warning, because I think they should have. And I definitely don't agree with what the police chief did. I mean, the clearest indication that she was trying to use her authority to gain an advantage is when she asked Deputy Jacoby, is your body camera on? You know, that whole situation could have been completely different if she hadn't have done that. But she did. And then the sheriff has the audacity to get up in front of the news media and just give these awful excuses and these statistics.
Think about this for a second, is that in 2020, in the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, we conducted 81,862 traffic stops. 81,862 traffic stops. We issued citations 12,597 times. That's not even 20%. In 2021, 86,146 traffic stops. Citations, 15,305. This year to date, we've conducted 91,473 traffic stops. citation 16,766. So I don't want to hear that she got the break just because she was the Tampa Police Chief. Had nothing to do with it. The outcome would have been the same. The absolute majority of the time, and only less than 20% of all the traffic stops we do we issue tickets. Again, because there's no big deal.
Let's talk about these statistics for a minute. He said that roughly 20% of the time when people are pulled over, they're given a ticket. And the other times they're not given a citation for whatever the traffic stop was for. That is political nonsense. Those numbers are so inflated. I mean, you could do that with anything. You can pick and choose the statistics and the numbers that you want to do. Here's what I want to know. I want to know Deputy Jacoby specifically. I want to see how many times has he pulled somebody over for driving an unregistered vehicle or a golf cart. How many times has he let them go? How many times has he given them a warning? How many times has he given them a criminal citation? Those are statistics that would be easy enough for them to find and to present. Don't give me the whole of Pinellas County. Don't do it. A lot of times those people that are pulled over are because a police officer are posted up in a known drug house and they see somebody come out of that house, but they don't know that they bought drugs because they can't see it, so they don't have evidence, but they suspect it. They have a reasonable suspicion that it's happening. So what do? They follow the car around in an unmarked patrol vehicle and they watch them roll through a stop sign or run a red light or speed. Now that gives them probable cause to pull the car over for a traffic infraction, and then they do further investigation. A lot of times that person will get arrested for, say, having an illegal substance, cocaine. They'll arrest them for cocaine, but guess what? They don't give them a traffic citation. Guess what? The statistics the sheriff gave would indicate that, oh, because we pulled that person over for running a stop sign, we gave them a warning. They didn't actually get a citation. That's a bunch of baloney. A statistic like that is just the sheriff pandering to the media to try to emphasize his point that his deputy was in the right, when clearly the facts that I presented today, along with the facts of the police chief's stop, show that that's just not the case. This is a great example of hypocrisy at its finest. In my client's particular case, it's still pending. Now, I'm sure that once all the evidence is reviewed by the state attorney, that they will do the right thing and they will drop the charges so that the public knows, the people of Pinellas County know that they're going to be treated fairly and equally just like everybody else, regardless of your status in life or your job.
Is that all we're trying to do is educate people. We want to get the behavior right. We don't want people running around with no tags on golf carts. We don't want people running stop signs. We don't want, but this is not a big deal. And I can tell you with certainty that the outcome wouldn't have been any different. Now, again, what she asked for, she didn't get. The problem is that she asked for it. She asked for special treatment. She asked for privilege. She asked for special consideration. And then, of course, followed it up with, if you ever need anything, come on. Everybody can see what all that is. But that's on her part, not on Deputy Jacoby's part. And I stand by him 100%. He did nothing wrong.